If you looked up the description of a preacher's wife, you could write Mary Catherine. She was ideal and always in the background, but always supportive, always greeting people, a friend, a friend to everybody. So she was an ideal pastor's wife.
I know that the driving force in my home is probably more my wife than me. But talk about your mom. She was celebrated a couple years ago, what we call Christian Soldier Sunday. We were just recognizing her service to the church for all these years, her faithfulness. Talk to me a little bit about her.
Okay.
First of all, tell us her full name.
Mary Catherine Gentry Vickers.
All right. And where was she from?
She's from Memphis.
Okay. Just talk to us about what she was like.
Oh, she had the patience of Job. I never heard her say anything bad about anybody. She was very quiet. She was very outgoing if you were talking to her, but she was very reserved. She felt her place was behind my dad, that he was always the head of the household. In fact, my grandmother felt like that too. All the men are always the head of the household, that you should respect your husband and you would follow, not behind them, but beside them. And so I think she was a big part of his ministry, because anything he did or wanted to, invest in or time-wise, she was right there beside him. She never, this was her place. This is where she should be.
Did she enjoy it?
But she was a Christian person before he was.
Yeah.
Long as she was raised in a Christian home.
Is that right?
He was not so much.
Okay. And so it's just part of her makeup, part of her DNA. She seemed to enjoy the ministry?
She did.
Ministry's hard.
I'm sure it was hard. Yeah, she spent lots of nights alone and time by herself, but being the kind of person she was, that didn't bother. She liked to sew. She loved to sew. That's what she took most of her time doing.
Now, your dad really had a heart for folks who were in that kind of situation, didn't he?
He did.
I heard that he kept wads of cash in his drawer and helped people out.
He did
and
that.
Just had that kind of
He
heart.
didn't mind giving anything like that.
Now, he came from Memphis. Did he live? He wasn't very well off growing up, is what I
No,
understand.
very poor.
Very poor. And yet, through football, he was able to go to college. Where did he go to college at?
He went to East Mississippi School. He played ball there, and then he went to Ole Miss.
Ole Miss. And his nickname was?
The Rebels.
His Jocelyn Joe, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
I heard it was Jocelyn Joe, that he would rattle your cage if he hit you. And so just
I'm
kind
sure,
of,
yes.
He loved football.
He
right?
loved football. He lived for football.
And he actually helped over here at the school next door a lot, right?
did.
Right up until he
did.
wasn't able to do it anymore.
I've got several plaques that the school presented him from time to time.
That's awesome. So he spent a lot of time over there with the team.
Especially when we first moved here, because he was younger and he worked out with them. And
Really? That's cool. Tell us about your memories in this room. What things stick out to you?
well, I always had the fear that I was always quiet in church, because I always had the fear. He told me if he ever looked at me, and he would call me out in the pulpit right then and there. So I always had that fear.
Brother Joe came along, and through a lot of his hard work and other people helping and programs that he started, we started growing, and a lot of new people coming in, so it wasn't hard to see that the budget would double in a few years there, that we picked up a lot. A lot of it was just his determination, his hard work, visitation programs that he instituted, different activities that he took part in, and whatever it took to get somebody in church. But he had a lot of help. It wasn't all him. He had a lot of help doing it too. So his taking part in programs like that, the Dixie Youth Cookout with 500 kids on campus with a 200-foot banana split. So it's a lot of things that contributed to the growth. He took the ball and run with it. He despised to have meetings. Our board meetings lasted 45 minutes to an hour, when we accomplished whatever we needed to do, and he took the ball and run with it. Not always what somebody else wanted him to do, but But in the end results, we accomplished a lot of things.
Well, I guess some of the fondest memories I have was because we became active and Doug became a elder, and the girls were happy, and Brother Joe put Doug to work right away, and he loved that. So that's some of the fondest memories. And then another fond memory of mine is when I joined the circle, and I think that I joined one of the best circles in the church, and they still are. They just so good to me, come to see me all the time and do things for me. So I still think I'm in the best circle.
But something I didn't know until he passed away, that because we were in church all the time, but I guess I don't remember this part of it, but Lisa Vincent told me that he loved Victory in Jesus. She said he wanted her to play, she'd say, what are we playing for the last song? And he'd say, Victory in Jesus. She'd say, Joe, we can't play this. We play it every Sunday. I remember here, one of my things that I remember is I had a dog when we moved here, and we moved here, this was the main road, so, you know, the transfer trucks and everybody went up and down this road, and she got killed out there. So that was a devastating thing for me. It was the first year we moved here.
Wow. And we're in the sanctuary. Yes. Is this kind of what you remember?
This is what I remember, yes, I do. Yeah. I remember if you had money in your hand or you were jingling or something, if you let go of it, everybody in the church knew it. It rolled right down to the front of the church.
The floor in here sloped all the way down the front.
Yes. You could hear everybody walk, move, or anything. The benches creaked, and